to 24, 22nd and 23rd. We'll just go through the translations. So text number 24. Should I put it up on the screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. So you can see this, the Veda-based screen?
Yes.
So Bhagavanyata sarvartha ishwaropi tad anyatha kartum naichad viprashapam kalarupyan mamodata. Knowing fully the significance of all these events, the Supreme Lord, although capable of reversing the Brahmana's curse, did not wish to do so. Rather, in his form of time, he gladly sanctioned these events. Purport. Oh, the screen just went away once again. Ordinary persons may be surprised or bewildered that the Lord gladly sanctioned the cursing and the destruction of his own dynasty. The word anvamodata used here indicates taking pleasure in something or giving sanction or approval. It is also mentioned Kala Rupi. Krishna gladly gave his sanction to the Brahmana's curse in the form of time. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada has commented that the Supreme Lord Krishna Chandra decided to maintain the curse intact in order to protect the actual principles of religion and destroy the unbecoming offense of the deceitful members of the Karshna dynasty. It is clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita that the whole purpose of the Lord's descent into the material world is to re-establish the authentic principles of religion by which the conditioned souls who are suffering intensely under the laws of material nature can regain their original existential status as eternally liberated servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The living entity comes to this material world with a desire to lord over material nature. Although the living entity is in fact not a lord but an eternal servant. Due to this perverted tendency to exploit the entire world for his sense gratification, the living entity is also prone to try to pervert the principles of spiritual life so that the eternal religious principles become appropriate to his own material sense gratification. Religion, however, is meant for pleasing the Supreme Lord by obeying his laws, and therefore Lord Krishna himself personally comes from time to time to revive and enliven the correct method of devotional service to his lotus feet. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated that Lord Krishna had completed the vast majority of his pastimes on the earth and was now making the final arrangements for his departure. Therefore, he wished to leave behind a vivid lesson for the living entities of this age that any so-called religious person, even if he is so exalted as to take birth in the Lord's personal family, cannot violate the respect and reverence which is due to the pure devotees of the Lord, such as Narad Muni. The principle of serving the pure devotee of Krishna is so essential for spiritual advancement that the Lord exhibited the inconceivable pastime of causing the destruction of his entire dynasty, just to impress this point upon the conditioned souls of Kali Yuga. Srimad Bhagavatam hints at the great misfortunes that would come after the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such misfortunes also occurred after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is accepted by Gaudiya Vaishnavas as Krishna himself. Through various instructions, The Bhagavatam provides for eliminating the cheating pseudo-religion that comes forth in the human society after the departure of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya, exhibiting his magnanimous pastimes, drove away from South India all the false doctrines of Apasampradayas, or so-called disciplic traditions of pseudo-devotees who had gained great influence by resorting to the atheistic theories of the Buddhists and the Jains. Thus he turned all of India toward the devotional service of Lord Krishna, so that due to the extensive preaching of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, there remained no topic of discussion in this world other than devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Tridandi Pad Prabodhananda Saraswati has elaborated on this in his verse, Stri Putradi Katham Jahur Vishayinaha. Sri Narhari Sarkar Thakur, in his book Krishna Bhajanamrita, has corrected the improper statements of the Gauranga Nagari Vadis, Sakhi Bheka Vadis, and others of the 11 pseudo-disciplic chains that claim to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These unauthorized persons present cheating in the guise of religion and advertise their duplicity as katha, or pure worship of the Lord. Just as Krishna brought about a furious quarrel to destroy his own family, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arranged for the world to be flooded by the varieties of Mayavad and Karmavad philosophies just after his disappearance. He did this to destroy persons who belong to the 11 Apasampradayas, or unauthorized disciplic traditions, as well as many other Apasampradayas that would appear in the future and presume to call themselves devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or pretend to be descendants in his family line. At the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arranged for his own men to be kept away from the pseudo devotion of these cheaters. The devotees of Lord Gaur Sundar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can discern the mysteries of his pastimes that manifest in the pastimes of Lord Krishna. The activities of the transcendental body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood in any ordinary mundane way. That is the essential meaning of this chapter. Thus ends the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 11th canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Curse Upon the Yadu Dynasty. So, the previous two verses, we'll just go through the translation. Text 22. A certain fish swallowed the iron lump, and the bits of iron carried by the shore by the waves implanted themselves there and grew into tall, sharp canes. The fish was caught in the ocean along with other fish in a fisherman's net. The iron lump in the fish's stomach was taken by the hunter Jara, who fixed it as an arrowhead at the end of his shaft. Text 24. Knowing fully the significance of all these events, the Supreme Lord, though capable of reversing the Brahmana's curse, did not wish to do so. Rather, in his form of time, he gladly sanctioned the events. Hare Krishna. So, a very beautiful chapter. Also, a very sad chapter for devotees to read the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Before we progress into the discussion, let us offer our prayers to the Acharyas. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, so it is the discussion of this particular chapter has happened in a place called Bhalka Tirth, which is in near Dwarka, close to the Somnath temple. So if someone or some of you have been to the yatra there, you can also visit this place where is the actual spot where Krishna chose to wind up his pastimes in this material of this material world. This particular discussion of the disappearance of Yadu dynasty tries to amplify the principle that although Krishna is the origin of the creation, Krishna himself controls time, Krishna himself controls Prakriti, and everything is working under his jurisdiction, which is discussed many times. Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So, still, in this material world, even Krishna follows uh, the influence of time itself, Kala, that even Krishna is not bereft or independent of the influence of time. This is very, very important as a principle to understand. Normally, when we come into devotional service and we understand that once you take shelter of Krishna, you don't need to worry about anything else. That's good. But that understanding should not go to that arrogance that we have the liberty to misbehave and do anything and everything, or even ignore the fine, subtle principles of devotional service. Because as long as we are in this material world, as long as we are under the influence of Prakriti, till that time, all the laws apply to us, whether we are ordinary devotees or we are pure devotees. There is no freedom or liberation from that principle. So imagine time to be a very great, very big recycling plant. All of us are being recycled constantly. Like you must have seen those videos of some trucks or cars being thrown in a recycle plant and how they get crushed and then they get recycled, they become an iron and then again become a car or something else. So similarly, all the beauty, all the wonderful things which we see in this world, it was just hardcore Mahatattva matter which came into manifestation and again it's going to go. And it's a continuous process. But because apparently the process is slow, we don't see it and we try to want to control it, capture it, we want to possess it, be part of its growth story or something like that. But essentially, it's just a recycling plant. When you go outside today, when you see people, just see so many young people in New York full of hope and enthusiasm that they are going to do something great in life. I wish them well and that they accomplish their desires. However, everyone is a part, everyone is walking towards their death. They are the part, they are an object which is going to be thrown in this great recycling plant. So even the great lineage of the Yadu dynasty, which is a divine dynasty because it is Krishna's own family, that itself was under the influence of Kala. Krishna appeared at a certain point of time in this world. Even while he was there, it was not that Krishna was free from. Just one second. There is some automatic dictation happening. So it was not that Krishna was himself or the Yadu dynasty had some liberties just because they are from Krishna's family. So this is a very, very important principle that even the Lord enacts pastimes which are under the influence of Kala. We see even in the Rama avatar when Lord appeared as Lord Ramchandra. Although he could have changed many things, he did not. Because of the desire of his stepmother Kaikeyi, he had to accept 14 years of banishment. Mother Sita she underwent so many difficulties. We see Krishna's own parents, Vasudev and Devaki, they underwent so many difficulties. We see so many pure devotees constantly under some kind of stress, even during Krishna's presence. We see Arjun, he was under great depression. Of course, it was Krishna who turned that great depression into a great literature as the Bhagavad Gita. But he had his challenges. Even when Arjuna's own dear son Abhimanyu, the valiant fighter, was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he had to face a cruel death, and so on. So, again and again, every single character of Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about this inevitable moment which is going to come, not for just for ordinary people, but also the great devotees of the Lord. And it's not that this moment is going to come in a very comfortable way just because we are devotees. No, it may come in whatever manner it has to come. But then we see how the great devotees of the Lord have accepted such situations as the mercy of Krishna, and also an essential part of their growth of spiritual life itself. So this is one very important principle which we learn. So in this pastime, very mystical things are discussed. It's very unusual to see that um, Krishna, the manner in which he died, there was a hunter who came and he shot an arrow, mistaking Krishna's toe to be an eye of a doe, of a deer. And that's how Krishna actually departed. So the story goes with greater detail in the Mahabharata and other literatures. So Krishna at that time, after he uh, understood that I have done enough in this world and now my purpose of incarnation is finished, he decided to wind up his pastimes. And he saw that an essential element was to remove his own family from the uh, family's influence on the earth, because he understood that in future, as Kali Yuga will progress and many generations would come about, some people, some of his own family would try to become the caste kind of approach and say that because we are the part of Krishna's family, whatever we say, that is devotional service. So Krishna enacted a beautiful plan to kill or to eliminate his own dynasty. Now, this also is a very interesting principle, because generally in this material world, we see that if a typical father or a person, um, he has led his life in a certain manner, let's say a great manner, he wants that his own children should carry forward, preserve his efforts, carry forward his tradition, set up a legacy in his name for generations, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation, and so on. In United States, you see on so many products, sometimes it shows since 1776, 200 years of this family's products. So they put it on juice bottles or some liquor bottles and so on, trying to glorify their family traditions, that we have a 200-year-old tradition, 300-year-old tradition. So those traditions are not carried by, they are not traditions which were set out of purpose for the mankind or serving the mankind or wanting to liberate the mankind. It is just a pure expression of the ego. Srila Prabhupada has called this principle as extended sense gratification in many of his purports. When I first read this word extended sense gratification, I was very confused, because sense gratification is understood. Um, when you're a teenager, you only understand sense gratification. But as you grow, then you start understanding what extended sense gratification means. Just like a father or a mother feels that, okay, I did not get good facilities in my life, but I want to see that my son is or daughter is not bereft of those facilities. He or she should get these things good. So it's not that, it's not directly giving them some convenience, but through their own children, they want to make a sense of their own lives. That is what is called as extended sense gratification. That could be also in any activity, any activity which we do. Let's say, in preaching also. When we preach, we facilitate many people becoming devotees, and then we are very happy with that little creation of ours, a small program, a small thing we do, and then we want to ensure that it goes on well. Someone, we hand it over in that mood that someone takes care of it. Till that point, it is fine, that you know that you have to do some service for a certain amount of time, then you are going to go, someone else is going to come occupy the same spot, the same place, and then he has to continue. It's fine. But when a person does that with that desire that I should always, this service should always be known, that it was started by me, I was the one who first started it, then that becomes the form of extended sense gratification. So although we do dharmic activities, we are doing righteous or spiritual activities, when we have a desire to be known and recognized, that our legacy should be carried forward in our name, then that is a form of a sense gratification. So here Krishna, who has come to establish dharma itself, and not that his children were evil in any format, still he enacted this pastime. He destroyed his own creation right in front of his own eyes, the essential creation from his physical existence. And all that remained is just principles which were preserved by the pure devotees and carried forward by the pure devotees of the Lord. He did not allow that credit to go to his family. If he wanted, he could have done that. His son Pradyumna was a great devotee. Anirudh, the grandchildren, they were all great devotees. It's not that they were not devotees, but he did not allow that. So that also shows that extreme form of detachment or which Krishna has. This also shows that Lord Krishna and his family is not an ordinary family. So for those people who feel that Krishna was just an ordinary person with some mystical powers, this particular pastime, just this moment that Krishna sanctions, Anvamodita, this word Anvamodana means gladly, Prabhupada writes gladly sanctioned. And that's what it actually means in Sanskrit. He happily sanctioned it. While others would think that because this was anyways going to happen, so you accept the situation and you philosophize around it. Yeah, one day we have to live, we have to give it up. Material bodies like this. We apply philosophy when we get dejected in life. Krishna was not applying philosophy. He was just joyful. For him, philosophy is not different from his very life. For a struggling devotee, philosophy is a set of rules, regulations, and instructions where he himself is trying to fix himself into it. But for Krishna, that is not what it is. He and philosophy are not different. So Krishna accepted that. In every pastime of Krishna, there are too many calculations which have to be done. So many things are accomplished through one particular pastime. Just like a very important person, when he goes to a typical place for inaugurating some kind of a museum or some new invention or something, the big people like presidents and ministers, they go many times to such places. So when they go there, it's not that they just do that one thing. They ensure that while they are in that place, they also accomplish so many other things. So every pastime of Krishna has multiple aspects which are accomplished. So here it is explained that the hunter Jara shot Krishna on his foot, toe specifically. So of course it is not coming in any of the Puranas as such, but in one of the Orissa folklore, it mentions that this Jara was previously Vali. In other places, it is called as previously he was Vali's son Angad. These characters, Vali and Angad, come in the Ramayana. So, for those of you who know a bit of Ramayana, where there is an instance where Lord Ram shot Vali hiding behind the trees. So, Ram was hiding behind the trees, and Vali was fighting with his brother Sugriv, and Lord Ram had shot Vali. So, Vali was pretty much surprised that Lord Ram, being a Kshatriya, he hid behind the bushes and he fought. So it's a very elaborate pastime, lot of discussions and happen. And Vali is finally happy with the conclusions of why Lord did that act. But then the Lord promises that in my next incarnation, you will appear and you will be the reason for my departure. So Krishna so this hunter Jara was actually Vali. In other places, it is also mentioned that he was the son of Vali, Angad, who had come to avenge his father's death. So Krishna fulfilled those desires of those devotees of the earlier uh, incarnation. So this also shows that this universe works in a in a balance of lot of energies, curses and blessings and the good and the bad things which we do, they have consequences always. And the prakriti needs to balance these things out. So Krishna does not interfere with the functioning of the prakriti and kal. It may take thousands of lives, but that karma will come back to you. That's the whole principle which Krishna wants to emphasize. And to devotees, Krishna wants to say that just take it gracefully. Let Prakriti do its job. You fix your mind on Krishna himself. Just like when Krishna was departing, he knew how he's going to depart. But it is said that just like the sun, after it rises and accomplishes many things in its bright light, and then when it is about to set, what is the feeling in the horizon? As if now I'm going, I'm departing. So Krishna was like sitting under the tree like the setting sun, which has now decided, now I'm done for this day, I'm going. And he was calm and relaxed in his own mind. So a devotee also functions that way. Let the karma take care of itself. Meanwhile, we focus our minds and hearts on to Krishna and let go of things as whenever they have to go. In the Mahabharata, there was another situation also where Gandhari, the mother of Duryodhan, who knew that my son is not a good person, but out of affection towards the son, it is natural for a mother. She had desired that Duryodhan should not die in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So 99 of her children had already died. The only last one, Duryodhan, was remaining. So Gandhari had put a band over her eyes. She had taken a vow that I will never see uh, through my eyes. Why? Because my husband also is blind. So she wanted to just follow a kind of a tapasya and austerity which she was doing. Because of this, she had also acquired a mystical power because of not seeing anything for several years. That if she cast her vision on some particular object and desired something, that particular object would take that property. So she called for Duryodhan and she desired that I should open my band and through my eyes shield the body of Duryodhan into a kind of a metallic body or tough as a metal that no arrow can penetrate, no mace can hurt Duryodhan, and so on. So it was at that time when Krishna knew that Gandhari is going to make her son invincible, and that would mean that Duryodhan will live, and that would mean that the Pandavas will not win the battle. So Krishna immediately went to Duryodhan, who saw and saw that Duryodhan was preparing himself to get absolutely naked and go in front of his mother so that she can just see him. So that time Krishna pointed out to Duryodhan that how can you go naked in front of your mother? You are an adult person, you are not a child. Your mother is going to shield you, but just at least cover your private parts. So Duryodhan just puts a small cloth around his waist and little bit from the waist till the knees. He puts a small gamcha kind of a thing and he goes in front of the mother. When the mother opens the band and sees Duryodhan in this form, she chastises him that I had told you that you should come absolutely naked so that I can shield you properly. Why did you cover this patch? So Duryodhan said, I was going to come, but then Krishna suddenly came and he gave me this logic that I am an adult person and it is not suitable for an adult to go naked in front of the mother. So Gandhari got so upset with Krishna that, and she understood that it was Krishna who understood her plan and therefore he failed her plan. And he made Duryodhan's that part weak from the waist till the knees. That part of Duryodhan was unshielded by Gandhari's mystical protection. So it was later Duryodhan was killed by attacking on his thighs that way. So anyway, so Gandhari cursed Krishna that just as you could have stopped the war, but you allowed the war to happen and you destroyed my entire dynasty, all my 100 sons. I curse you that you will see the destruction of your own dynasty in front of your own eyes, just as you have allowed this to happen in my life. Now, Gandhari was also a devotee, but overwhelmed with her motherly affection, she said this to Krishna. So Krishna says, Tathastu. So be it. He accepted the curse of Gandhari, knowing that I will need this curse at some other time. So we see that in Krishna's pastime, this that he witnessing the destruction of his own dynasty was setting the energy created by Gandhari, neutralizing that through this particular pastime, taking care of Vali in the Ramayana and neutralizing that, and at the same time taking care of the future. So it's a very mystical journey, whatever has happened. But this particular moment when Krishna is under the tree, totally ready to depart, many devatas also came, many demigods came to see Krishna. And Krishna did not even look at them. He was like, I don't want to see anyone connected to this material world and material affairs. I'm done with it. It was only when Uddhav came to meet Krishna during his final moments, Krishna started giving him instructions about the purpose of life, the journey of life, and so on, which becomes the part of Uddhav Gita in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very, very beautiful discussion. So, this moment is the setting of the discussion between Krishna and Uddhava, a very, very spiritual moment in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And also a very sad moment in a way for devotees when you read these pastimes in the place of Bhalka Tirtha, the place where Krishna departed. You do feel the sense of kind of overwhelming emotions of what must have happened at that time. So, anyways, I'd like to stop here. We just have about 5 minutes. Thank you all very much. Any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for unpacking this, and it's just this how Krishna can do these multiple things at the same time. We often say that we can't multitask, but Krishna can, and we see how there's so many lessons just in this. How he's serving the devotees in ways that you can't see from the outside unless you do the further unpacking of this. And that helps us look, I think, helps me look at my own life. I maybe can't see sometimes how this is Krishna's mercy for me. But when I pull back and look at these kind of pastimes, I can see that it actually is. So thank you so much for going into the details of this with us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We also see that even for Krishna, he has to practice this detachment. So when he recommends us to practice, so it's just a routine which a living entity has to do for the sake of his own emancipation.
Vrajihari Prabhu once said that we're comfortable with silence. But what is this silence, dear devotees? Where did our culture go? Where is Naimisharanya forest? Where is the forest, Adipurusha Prabhu? Where are comments, questions, angles of visions? Where did all that go?
Hare Krishna, can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, only about 30 seconds left here, but it says that devotees don't like to hear or talk about Krishna's disappearance. It's definitely not a very relishable subject matter. It just makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's part of the Bhagavatam, but it's not easy to contemplate that. But the one salient point is that these mischievous teenagers, they made fun of the sages. And the sages are so worthy of our respect and our the way we relate to them, appreciation and gratitude for what they have to share with us. But they, just in their youthful mischievousness, they pulled a prank on these wonderful, wonderful devotees. And so I guess we do have the same inclination. Uh, as soon as the president is elected, then there's cartoons in the newspaper uh, showing him with big ears or, exaggerated caricature. We have this tendency to uh, minimize uh, the importance or the dignity of those who are actually worthy of our uh, appreciation, isn't it? So, so there's a warning there, even though this is a pastime and Krishna arranged this so that this dynasty could be eliminated from the earth. Still, it's a principle that we have to be a little careful to offer proper respect and appreciation for the elders and leadership people that Krishna has given us. Humor is appropriate sometimes, but sometimes it can be dangerous. Many of a true word is said in jest. Here comes the conch shell, Hare Krishna. It's a really good conch shell blower today.
Thank you. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Where is that guy with the other equipment? Because I have to take this out. Want to come to Third Street today? Yeah, okay. Jai So beautiful. Oh, take this.
Oh, do you want me to do it? You need to go.
Buddha Sundara. You using this one? I turn this off?
Amrita Kishori, thank you.
Without it is Lord filled with glory on heaven. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and flame of Krishna. My only wish is that my consciousness be revived by the words and the word of mouth. Such men who felt filled with affection will be He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transparent knowledge. He is my Lord Bhagavatam. In him is gratitude. Gratitude is the Lord, the greatest scriptures and of its God. I speak in association of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the give us the shade of your mercy, the fame spread all over the sea, the shelter of the Jai.
Jai Shila Prabhupada. Thank you, Amrita Kishori Devidasi. Thanks again, Jagannath Priya Prabhu, for the wonderful presentation. We'd like to acknowledge Madan Gopal Prabhu here. Madan Gopal Prabhu, would you like to speak? It's so good to have you in our little circle.
Hare Krishna, it's so good to be here and seeing all of you. My obeisance to all of you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, Jagannath Priya Prabhu, if you can hear us,
Yes, yes, I can hear.
the question is, if we are, as devotees, if we interpret everything as Krishna's mercy, so then what's the difference? What's the kind of use, if I can say that? What's the use of being a devotee if, whatever can happen and all you have to do is just interpretation. So externally, apparently, there's no difference between somebody who is surrendered to Krishna and somebody who is not. So externally, it doesn't matter. Is that correct? So what's the incentive then to become a devotee if I'm still in this material world, if still trouble after trouble? Does it change externally ever?
A non-devotee cannot see everything as a mercy of Krishna that way. They can justify that everything is happening under the divine instructions and plans, and they can say like that, but they cannot experience it. They cannot mean it from their hearts. So sorry if there's some issue with my video. Um, Demons like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, and so on, they had an approach where they would feel that if Vishnu or Narayan is the supreme absolute truth, let him win over me. Let him prove himself. We have no problem to accept him as the truth. Let him prove himself. So they went to that extreme. So from that perspective, even if a person is not a devotee and he is able to, if he says that, okay, if everything is happening by Krishna's plan, so my evil plans are also sanctioned by Krishna's plan. So it's okay. And that understanding is true, but then they should also accept the consequences of it. So an incentive of a devotee is um, just that no matter under what circumstances, what situation it is, every situation is going to get me closer to Krishna. That's the only incentive. If we are going to measure things from a material perspective, then it may also disappoint at times. Like Arjun took shelter of Krishna and he followed the path of war, but his son died, Abhimanyu. So Arjun did not blame Krishna. In fact, there was a moment that evening that he cried and yelled at Krishna that how could you let this happen? You called me that I am your friend and devotee, and is this what you do? So Krishna said, hey, wait. You are worrying about Abhimanyu as if you were going to give him a better life. Do you know right now I can see where he is and he's more happily situated than where you are right now. And you are going to be there soon with him. So don't talk as if what you are doing is more meaningful and where he has gone is something as if he's lost something in life. So he gives this perspective. So it's very difficult for embodied beings to see the hand of Krishna everywhere. But that's where Bhagavatam comes into the picture, right? We see devotees going through so many unfortunate situations, but The greatness is they could see the presence of Lord even in the chaos. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this chaos goes to a very different extent. Like in the when we see Ramayana or Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, all these literatures, you see that Krishna tells the devotees to retaliate against adharma. They fight. Some of them they die in the process also. But in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Haridas Thakur beaten in 22 marketplaces, and still he considered that also to be an act of Krishna, the arrangement of the Lord. Now, that is something which I personally find it inconceivable. That how could you be so grateful when you are dragged in 22 marketplaces by the fanatic fundamental Islamist soldiers under the instructions of the king? Just for chanting. He was not even creating a revolution in the society. He was a no one there, just an ordinary person chanting. Poor people would come and some of them would take blessings like they take blessings of Babaji's. It was not that there were millions and millions of dollars pouring because of his persona, and nothing was happening as such. But there's just this idea, how can a Muslim person chant Krishna's name? So, but he accepted that humiliation. This is extremely difficult. That's one pastime which never fits my brain because it's so difficult to be grateful that way. But then in my little bit a small journey of last couple of decades in Krishna consciousness, I have seen that so many challenges do come, and every now and then you have to struggle to see Krishna. The only lesson, the only journey essentially which I have come to understand is situations will keep coming, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Are you able to take shelter of me in such circumstances? That is the question which Krishna always poses. Okay, I did such a situation for you. Can you focus on me? Okay, now in such situation, can you still focus? It's good. Can you focus? It's bad. Can you focus? It's evil. Can you focus? Focus, focus, focus. So what I do sometimes is when I feel that someone is evil or someone is not good and he or she are some situations are very political or so, I just tell that Krishna, I don't like you in such a format. I'm unable to appreciate you in such a format. I know that you can have a form of a demon, you can enact pastimes, and sometimes you do this. I'm not comfortable with this. So I try to at least bring Krishna theoretically. I enjoy you in this format, I don't enjoy you this format. This is unacceptable to my weak heart. But then we have to keep pushing ourselves. What can be done? So let's say, I remember once in India when it was a very sensitive time, uh, the police had visited our temple and told that there is a bomb threat to the temple. Some fundamental groups had issued a warning to certain temples. So we were thinking that someday we would be doing Bangalati, some festival, some bomb may blow off. What to do? Okay, we were trained how to identify the explosives and so many other things. Some of them were trained to handle some guns. All those things are fine, but you never know what situation come at what time. So we had to accept, okay, if this is Krishna's desire, we'll try our best, but if we have to go, we have to go. It doesn't matter. And what are we going to achieve by not going essentially? If I extend my life another 20, 30 years, what exactly am I going to achieve here? With the passage of time, everything is going to go. So the incentive for a devotee is nothing but the shelter of Krishna. I'll just conclude one more story. Panini, who wrote this grammar of Sanskrit, towards the end of his life, he was in the forest. He was compiling some sutras of the language. And in the forest, a tiger came very near to him to devour him. And one of the five last lines which he writes is this: I am very grateful that I got this opportunity to be devoured by the divine form, by the divine in the form of a tiger, while I was doing my duty of compiling the Sanskrit language. So he said, I'm so happy that my life is going while I'm doing my duty. He did not see the tiger. He writes that I'm now going to be devoured by a tiger. But that is the form of divinity. Now that is something, right? Like we hear also about Socrates when the poison was being given, he said, yeah, give it to me. You can, anyways, you cannot kill me. But he accepted it. So shelter of Krishna is what it is. Fight as much as you can, knowing well that anyways it's Krishna's. You are fighting with Krishna anyways. You win, it is Krishna's humor. You lose, it is Krishna's humor. It's just Krishna all the way.
Thank you, Jagannath Priya Prabhu. Yeah, what were Haridas Thakur's incentives? What were his benefits? We're not here for that. We are in Lord Chaitanya's movement to get closer to Krishna. We serve Krishna to experience Krishna, and that's not a small thing. Having Krishna in our life.
See, our acharyas say that the process of devotional service, it is an end in itself. It's not that I'm going to get something else after this process. So when I do this process, when I chant, what is the incentive? The chanting is the incentive. It is the end. It is the essence. So if we are not able to reach to that point, then all we praise, my dear Lord, please let me realize that this chanting is everything. I do not want chanting to be a medium to get some comforts or conveniences, or even it's not that when I chant and then I'm going to participate in Krishna's pastimes. Krishna's pastimes is chanting itself. That's why the acharyas, they reveal this, that the chanting unfolds itself into the leelas, the nama, rupa, guna eventually. It's not that the chanting is leading to something else. It is chanting which is unfolding itself. So when it does not unfold itself in our lives, we think that it has to lead to something. No, it's not going to lead, it's just going to unfold, uncover itself. So we just keep praying to Harinam Prabhu, please reveal yourself, please reveal yourself, please reveal yourself. Because there's nothing worth beyond chanting what we can get essentially.
Yeah, I'm looking at Adipurusha Prabhu. How long have you been a devotee, Adipurusha Prabhu?
I hope to be a devotee one day. Prabhupada's grace. Like you.
Oh, what is it, 50 years or something?
Srila Prabhupada accepted me as a disciple in 1973.
So that's 50 years.
50,
Yeah. And what is
51.
Adipurusha Prabhu doing? Chanting. This morning he was chanting Hare Krishna. That's it. After 50 years of chanting, he's chanting. It's illustrating the principle that Jagannath Priya Prabhu is describing so wonderfully. Adipurusha Prabhu, would you like to speak?
Let's pray to Srila Prabhupada that we have to say whatever we have to say is what he wants us to say. I hope I can represent him by doing that. Maybe I'll fail, but I'm going to try to say what I feel about that meeting. Prabhu already answered your perfect question several splendid ways. First of all, we're not the body, so the things that happen up and down in the beyond that, there's another existence. And he explained that The difference we're asking the devotee and the non-devotee. Non-devotee is thinking, me, what do I love? But everyone's born into illusion based on desire and hate. Like this and like that. What do I like? What do I not? But as a devotee, that love, who wants to please Krishna, so the difference is love or selfishness. So we're trying to go in that direction more to please Krishna. And then he spoke about how things are not happening in a chaotic way. Krishna's loving hand is there. It's not just chaos. In an orderly and perfect way for our benefit, Krishna gives us different things to help us learn and grow. So we can relax and be confident that Krishna knows what he's doing. All right, Prabhu already answered all these things very good.
Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So there is one external perk of being a devotee, which is freedom from me, I, me, mine, from all that stuff.
Sanity. It's either there's love in our motivation or some selfish thing. So a person who actually, we are by nature loving beings. That's what we are. So Srila Prabhupada is awakening us to that. He's not adding it on like a coat of paint. He's helping us to remember who we are and help us to be better and better. That's the highest pleasure, to be loving. And to be grateful to Krishna for his love.
Thank you very much. It's such a wonderful class. I feel uplifted. I feel like going back to my family and telling them that I love them. And I love you too, dear devotees. And I love you, Adipusha Prabhu. And please forgive me. Again and again I commit offenses. But please forgive me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Okay. Amrita Kishori Devidasi, please unmute yourself and recite the Maha Mantra with your singing voice.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Sweet. Thank you very much. Okay. It was nice spending the time with you, Jagannath Priya Prabhu Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai,
Prabhupada ki jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.